Hi, welcome to the next episode of Creative Sanctuary with Jen and Tam and Tam and Jen. I think we're both so focused on not putting our own name forward first that we don't know how to introduce each other. So we're doing Jen and Tam and Tam and Jen. So funny. Anyway, here it is, episode 2, and we're diving into the topic of anger and parenting and making art while we do that. I can tell you, I'm so excited about this because it's all the things I love. It's art, it's talking, it's reading quotes and poetry, it's getting vulnerable about things that scare me, about parenting, it's getting real about what anger means to me, all the while with someone else's heart in this space. Like, do you ever find this? Like, when I do things alone in my journal, like, it does help me and I do love it, but being in connection with someone and talking about it out loud and then sharing your art and talking about that, holy crap, it takes it to another level of healing. So do this along with us and then let me know. Share your art that you make from this in the comments if you want, so that I can see it, because I will be hanging on every comment that comes in. I want to hear your story. I want to hear what happened to you as you listened and made something, and I want to see it. So I'm in love with this new series with Tam, where we just pick a topic and we unscripted talk while we make art. I just think it's simple. And guess what? The deepest healing can be simple. The deepest healing can happen when you're at home on your couch. I really believe that. I want to believe that. You know how people get all like, and I have too at times, like, oh, the world is going to hell. It's awful. The world is awful. And it's all social media is awful. And our kids are on screens too much. Like that rabbit hole that I can go down to. This makes me feel like the goodness of that, the goodness of social media, the goodness of being on screens with online friends, the goodness of it all is channeling itself right to you wherever you are. And it is healing our hearts. It's healing mine. So I hope you enjoy this episode and let me know in the comments and give me an idea of what you'd want us to tackle next. We're going to do it again next month. Okay, get your supplies. So welcome back to us. Creative Sanctuary, episode 2 with Tam and Jen and Jen and Tam. Okay, let's start in a good way. I'm going to light my candle.
Nice.
Take a breath. Let's take a breath after all that. I have a reading for us from Circle of Stones again.
Yes.
Oh, and I picked this just for this moment. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. How might it have been different for you if early in your life, the first time you as a tiny child felt your anger coming together inside yourself, someone, a parent or a grandparent or an older sister or brother, had said, "Bravo, yes, that's it, you're feeling it." If the first time you had experienced that sharp awareness of ego, of me, I am not you, that you had been received and hugged and affirmed instead of shamed or isolated. If someone had been able to see that you were taking the first tiny baby step towards feeling your own feelings, of knowing that you saw life differently from those around you, if you had been helped to experience your own uniqueness, to feel the excitement of sensing for the very first time your own awareness of life, what if someone had helped you to own all of this, to own your own life? How might it be different for you?
Well, that's amazing, isn't it? Then everything would have been fine.
I wouldn't have.
That's basically everything that is needed.
I wouldn't have spent a lifetime trying to figure out if I'm afraid of anger or not afraid, or if I love anger or hate anger, which is still a struggle I face today.
Yes, I'm loving that you're touching on anger because that's what there's a person who last time asked about anger, and I've been sitting with anger since the question, thinking, well, what is my relationship to it anyway? And it's a really great question, and not just for anger. I mean, this paragraph, so beautiful, is for all the feelings, isn't it? Because like
Yeah.
sadness is often been rejected when you're a child, or even some
Yes.
people are not allowed to feel happiness, and so you start to not feel feelings, and that's what I've been relearning my entire life.
Me too. Me
Feel the feelings, yeah.
too. Let's bring all that into what we're going to make today. Do you
Mm.
want to do a quick, like, tell us what you brought for supplies? Because I had asked, can we do collage? So I know we have some of that, but what else? Let's take it turns. What do you have? And then I'll
Well,
share what I
yeah,
have.
you said collage, so I brought my journal where I'm going to put the
Yeah.
collage in. And then I do, because I do have a lot of collage, but just not focal point collage. Because I think you said
I,
collage. Oh, and you said find a magazine. I was like, I don't have a magazine. I found one.
you found one.
Guess what year it's from?
What?
2013.
Awesome.
That's how old it is. Let me just see if I can get my. Okay, so now that's working, isn't it? Now you can
Yep.
see. You can't, but they can, I think. On my case, I'll put my FaceTime back to the other one. Yes, okay. On my camera now, because I think Jen's camera has a different, but so I've got this bizarre from 2013 that made me laugh.
Awesome.
That's how old it is. And then I have a whole host of ephemera. This
Okay.
is something I've printed out a while ago for like doilies. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
patterned paper. I have this is what is that? Transparent paper with.
Nice.
I love music scores. Music scores I use in almost all of my collage art. I love book pages. Here are some. They call them die cuts. If you've heard
Oh,
of them.
yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of cool, but usually vintagey ones. And then, but I don't know if I'll use it all, obviously. But you said bring collage, so and then this is
Mhm.
also full of old scraps of things, and I enjoy actually. I like using origami papers. You know those little? They are
Yes.
it's for
Beautiful.
folding, but
Yeah.
yeah, I like using them for collage. And then well, I've
I'm
got this.
trying to look over. I'm trying to look down. That doesn't work over video. That only works in real
You
life.
can't like
I
yeah.
forget that.
And then I love this roll of transparent paper by this is by Ranger. Basically, it's like a roll of paper, which it's just such beautiful. It's got everything in it that I love.
Hold
Butterfly.
it up so I can see it. Can I see it?
Oh, you can't see it.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry. I thought maybe
gosh.
you can see my screen. Yeah, it's amazing. It's got butterflies in it. It's got music scores and pay and words. It's my favorite type.
I
So
need
if
to
people
order
are
that.
interested in this one. Yeah, I think it's by Ranger. I don't know what you call it. Probably
I'll find it. I have
uh
gift.
transparent vintage paper maybe. And then I have a sorry, I should hold it to you. A
Oh
book
yeah.
that I've used for years. This is the Celestine Prophecy, where I have because I like. I mean, the book was all right, but there's good words in it. And then another thing I wanted to show you, and
That's
that's the last
funny.
thing I'll show you, and then you talk. This pack here I
Yeah.
bought off of Etsy, and it's full of music scores. And what you do is you basically order it's something like 20 sheets of um old vintage
Oh
um
my gosh. I love it.
to you, and then I show it to the camera again. Music scores with lyrics, and they're different sizes, and some of them are more dense with their music scores.
Oh my gosh. I
Some are
love
more
it.
so that's and you can buy these fairly cheaply on Etsy. Just search for music scores vintage, and then
I'm
they
going shopping as soon as we're done.
I know, right? And then you can get say 20 pages or 5 pages or 10, and it's not that expensive. So I'm really
That
pleased.
is awesome. Love
Yeah.
it.
It's me. What about you?
Okay,
You
well,
find-
the longer I prepared, the more supplies I brought. So I have, look at this. I found this one in the Recycle Women's Day magazine, 1983.
Oh, also 1983. I thought mine was old.
Look at this one.
Yeah,
Oh, miss those cigarette ads
very
where
fun.
we
Oh
were
my God.
shameless.
You
Yeah.
don't
Okay, I've got that. I've got Bella Grace, my fave. Ooh, Bella Grace. Can't beat it. I made this little, they're little prompts. I don't know if I had them last time, but I cut out little hearts with my
Yeah,
pen.
nice one. Show
And
them
then,
on
well,
your under your camera as well, because I'm now I'm seeing your test desk from above.
oh, you are?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've stopped sharing my screen for a second, so we can also the
So can
people
you
who
see it?
yeah,
Oh,
we can
shoot.
see it. Although yours is a little frozen
Mine-
now. That's it.
mine's-
Mhm.
Okay.
So you
So
got your
these are
box.
little prompts of things to do when I don't know what to do in my art.
Mhm.
Like make marks with a paint pen, put on a little Zentangle. See? So when I get stuck, use a
Yeah.
stamp. It gives me those. I have
Right.
those. And I have this is where I put all my scraps
Oh, good.
and I
Yeah,
just keep,
that's a
keep
good.
reuse them again and again.
Nice.
I have a one a day calendar, this poetry, old one, and I have some Poscas. Oh, and I brought to put a little color on this Stabilo.
Oh, the
uh,
woodies, they are
Woody.
good. They're
Oh,
nice.
I
Yeah.
keep wanting to call them Stabilo Stubbies, but it's a woody and it's the vibrancy. Oh my gosh, love it. That's where I'm at.
Oh, yeah. And so,
My journal.
well, other
So now
supplies are, for me, other supplies are always within reach. So I have acrylic inks and acrylics and pencils and stuff. But that was
I'm
my.
going, I'm going to share my screen again. This is what we're going to do as I'm doing this. Let's set this up. There we go.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Okay. So this is my journal. I'm just going to show you what I typically do with collage because I'm such a collager. I like to make things that I just pull things from a magazine that speak to me and I try not to judge why or I try to stay out of my head about it. I just pick some images. So let's start with let's pick 4 images about anger and then maybe 4 things, anything. I just like to limit it or else we could go all day.
Gotcha. Four things
Okay.
about anger
Four
and four
things
things
about
about.
anger and 4 things about what is the opposite of anger?
Oh, that's a good question.
Love. No,
Is
it's
it
not.
not love? I think it's peace, is it?
Okay.
Calm. Something like that.
Okay, let's do that. So let's
Could be.
do
But if
4 of
anger is
anger.
interesting, I think it's interesting because we could discuss what anger really is and what it means to us. But because if it's anger if directed at someone, the opposite might be love at someone. But if you're just experiencing anger and the opposite of it might just be peace, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah,
Might be different for everyone. Okay,
and
so
it
four
probably is.
four images that represent anger to you and 4 images that represent peace or calm
Peace.
or love, whatever the person also is without doing it as well. Maybe they can choose whatever they
Whatever
feel.
your opposite is.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right. All right,
And
and
then
I'll also share my screen again.
let me
Yeah.
know when you have your 4 and we do this fairly quickly.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna. I don't know if I can find anything angry in here. And
That's
could also
okay.
just be oh, actually, this is Tilda. Was it Tilda? Whatever. She's not. She looks a bit stern. I might use her face. I quite like her face.
It
She's
also could
not
be
angry as
words.
stuff, but she's quite a this lady. You know her Tilda. Is this
I
Tilda
don't know her.
Swinton? She's an actress. She doesn't look angry, but maybe. All right. Um.
And it could be words if you find those in your.
Okay, it doesn't have to be images. Could also just be patterns or a loud color.
Yes,
If
it
you
could be
see red,
I mean, the thing with
like I think
collage
red. Mm,
that I love is go symbolic.
sure. Right. So she looks quite angry, actually. Or I don't know. Proper anger. There's also like I find it interesting to discuss anger in the first place in the sense that you have frustration. My therapist once said, "Oh, frustration is connected to rage," which I thought was interesting because I often say
Yeah.
I feel frustrated in that sort of and
Well,
it's like, yeah, that's
yeah.
connected to rage. Oh, really? Because I always think it's a slightly less intense version of rage, but or anger. But she said no, it's connected to. This is actually calm for me. Sorry,
I
I'm gonna.
had a I had a teaching once that said anything you describe that has ed on the end of it is anger in disguise.
Interesting, like frustrated,
So frustrated,
irritated, or yeah.
disappointed.
Oh,
Um,
really? Even
it's
disappointed.
all part of the anger family. And there's this belief in therapy. There's some therapists that say anger is a secondary emotion. It's sadness is bodyguard, or it's this thing that there's something else under it. I think anger is its own primary feeling. I think animals use anger to mark their territory, and they like I think we are, as an animal, anger is an important, vital primary feeling.
I definitely think it's important. I don't know if I understand it very well. Um,
Well, I
because
thought I knew my own anger, and it turns out I don't. Oh, I got to look for my next four images here.
yeah, I already found a calming one as well, but I'm sort of doing both at the same time.
I've got
I
my
feel
anger.
like I remember one of my therapists, because I've had many.
Yes, it's awesome.
Um, one of them said you must start feeling your anger, and I thought that meant telling people that I was angry with them. So I misunderstood that, because I don't think it's really necessarily very helpful to express anger at someone, because you're kind of overwhelmed, you're in fight or flight. And I don't think you might say, quite the right thing. I think it's okay to say, hey, I'm feeling angry, but not to speak from the rage. Do you know what I mean? Because you tend to start to swear and scream. Hello again. Here's a little insert from Editing Tam. I was listening back to this video because I'm editing it now, and I just wanted to add, because it's important to me that people know that I actually do think that expressing anger, particularly when you need to defend yourself in a moment, is important to express it. Is important to express it in the moment. Obviously, if you're under threat or you're being attacked, then I think expressing anger towards the person is very appropriate. When I was saying I don't think it's helpful to express it, is more in kind of interpersonal relationships where you normally have a good relationship with. I feel like if you basically express your anger, it depends on also how you express your anger. So if you express your anger by screaming and shouting, I don't think that will, it might be cathartic, but I don't know if it will do the relationship any good. I think expressing anger separately, like maybe screaming into a pillow or something, and then coming back to that person to discuss the issue might work better. But I want to just really emphasize that I do think that expressing your anger, particularly in a moment of having to defend yourself, is perfectly, like in a, maybe if you're being physically attacked or something, or you're in an abusive situation, that is very needed and appropriate. So just wanted to insert that. Thank you. We'll go back to the video now. And so I was quite, and then I started kind of, this was not a very good therapist, to be honest with you. And she was she wasn't guiding me very well in it, because I said, maybe I need to scream at my mother. This is sort of how I understood it. I'm not saying that sometimes you can, obviously it might be needed, but I don't personally, I definitely think you should feel and process anger, but I don't think it's helpful to speak aggressively or loudly or in fight or flight from it, because then you're not really, I don't know, it might sometimes be helpful, obviously, in a moment of wherever it might be needed if you're protecting or something. But in general, let's say with my husband, I would prefer not to scream or shout at him if I'm angry about something. I'd rather first process it, or with him even, calmly, and then talk about it. Does that make sense? The bold.
Yes. It sounds very mature.
Oh.
I I'm, I'm often not that.
Well, I'm not, like I said, I don't really understand anger that well in
Well,
myself still.
I thought I knew my own anger, but recently I'm realizing how afraid of it I am, my own included. I thought I could handle people's anger, and I was in love with anger, and I wanted people to be able to express anger. But the people who I love, like my son, yesterday I got so angry at him. And then I just feel this intense fear of, have I ruined the relationship? Have I broken the connection? And yet there's part of me that believes there's such truth in anger. There's such rawness and authenticity. And I trust people more when I've experienced their anger, usually, because I know what they're really thinking. Like maybe it's from a trauma history where I often didn't know what was real. I don't know. But yeah,
I really just like discussing it, because it's interesting to me that you said you trust people more when you've received their anger. Well, what does it look like? Because if, like, for instance, Mike was very angry man, very aggressive with it. So
right.
he was making me afraid. It was absolutely not helpful to
Right.
be expressing his anger the way he did, if you get what I'm saying. But
Totally.
if someone calmly, like I don't, if they're upset about something and they calmly tell me so, and it's raw and authentic, I'm happy. I'm happy, probably not, but I'm more able to hear it and how and process it. But if they're just sort of, I'm not saying that people that do express anger in an angry moment are that that's not okay. I get that that sometimes happens, but I don't know what it does for relationships. Like it just depends on the level of anger as well. You see what I mean? Like
Yes.
I
Like,
once had a moment where I lost my shit, like, sorry to, swear, in front of Elliot, that eventually he came to me and he's worried that I might lose my shit anytime I was slightly feeling frustrated or sort of going, oh, I'm a bit annoyed about that. And he would get tense. And I felt devastated finding out about that. So I did a lot
yeah,
of repair with him around it and would say to him, really, thank you for telling me, like, I really want to not do that. I don't want you to be afraid of me. It was a very specific event that had happened, and it's really rare. That's the other thing. It's really rare with my kids that it happens, so it might be more shocking for him. But yeah, I don't know. See what I mean? So I feel
I
there
do
needs to
know
be
what you
space.
mean.
There needs to be space for anger, but I don't think it's helpful that it is expressed in aggression or screaming and shouting at whoever you're angry with. See what I'm saying? But I still feel like
Yeah.
that the person needs to be able to hold and process and express the anger one way or another. I just don't think it's
Yeah,
helpful if it's expressed through aggression or shouting. And
I
if it
know.
does happen, it's not like the end of the world. You can repair and you can come back and heal.
Mm.
Nice. This is
Like,
so calming.
I think when I've noticed for me and for people over time in therapy, like that I've seen, when I talk about anger, they immediately go to abusive anger.
Well,
Or,
that's what I mean. The difference.
yeah,
Yeah.
like not that you were abusive in that, but
Mm.
we go to that worst case scenario of hurting someone with anger. But what if we got to a place where me as a woman could express my anger in a way that's clean, like
Yeah.
a way that says, I am angry about this. I have a resentment. This is what's happening for me. I can look after my own feelings about it, but I want to express it. I want to get to that place and then not panic that, oh my God, I've just ruined the relationship and wounded my kids for all time. But, the other thing is, I have so many thoughts about it. The other thing is, rupture and repair as a way to build trust is so much more powerful than never making a mistake with our
Yeah.
kids.
Totally. I agree
Like you
completely.
got you got to this deep place with your son of
Yeah, really. Totally.
he was able to talk to you and you responded and it like listened to him like, oh my God, I wish I'd had a mother who could have done that, who could have said, oh, you're right, I can see why you're upset. Like,
Yeah.
so that's such a gift.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was a very beautiful moment as well. And I really know, even now, we still talk about it now. That do you remember how that happened? And then and also I did very actively work on, well, not that I needed to because I don't have many outbursts, but I was very mindful. So anytime I was
Yeah.
a little bit annoyed or kind of in my own triggered state, I would go, oh, hold on. You might be scaring people, but he might think that you're going to get angry because he saw me basically lose it one time, but it was so impactful for him, and it matters so much to me that he's not afraid of me or worries that
I
he
know,
might witness that
right?
again. I wanted to make an active effort, conscious, intentional, to make sure I
Oh,
wasn't,
yeah,
but I want to point something out. What I liked what you said was clean anger is that I like. That's what I meant by the differences.
yeah,
If
right.
someone is aggressive about their anger and blames and shames and shouts and screams, I don't think that's a helpful way of expressing anger. But say,
No,
hey, I'm noticing anger in me, and what you did right there was painful for me, and I'm gonna have to need to sit with that for a bit, and I'd like you to listen to it, or can you, have you got space for listening to it later, or maybe not? That's a clean way, I suppose, of
right.
expressing anger, and I like that.
Yeah,
I like that you made the distinction.
yeah, because I don't want to go through like what am I trying to say? I get worried about, oh my God, like it's funny how anger ends up becoming about parenting for me.
Hmm.
Like I quickly go to how I've hurt my kids, or if I've hurt my kids as well. Oh my goodness, I'm having so much trouble with my camera today. I'm sorry.
I
There,
can't see things at the moment.
there we go. Yeah. So, what am I trying to say? Like, I like show me a parent who's never lost their
Of course.
absolute shit,
Everyone.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I had a therapist who said to me, and it helped me so much. He said, we're supposed to wound our children.
Okay.
It's part of the process of separation, and it's part of what helps them leave us one day. And it helps them individuate and grow up and see us as people and, in, fallible, not infallible,
Yeah,
fallible.
but
But
I mean, I
that's a
suppose.
tough one because I don't want to hurt my kid. I don't.
But I would want to put a caveat in that it depends on the wound, the type of wound,
Yeah.
right?
Oh
'Cause
yeah, because my
probably
parents
didn't
wounded
mean
me too
he
much.
probably didn't. Yeah, he probably didn't mean beat them up, for instance.
No, he didn't. He just meant
That's what he
expressing
meant.
realness about how you really
I
are.
just wish.
Okay, where are you at with your, let's do a check-in. Have you glued things down yet?
No, I got really absorbed by by the anger conversation.
Okay, good.
I only have three-ish images that
Okay,
be connected to anger.
let's do some gluing. I've got three too. Let's glue and then share. How about that?
Okay. Yeah.
And what I notice when I'm doing this process, which I do a lot in my journals, um, I start sort of a dialogue internally about what goes where and why, and how things are placed often is very important to me. So like where you're going to put these three things and how you're going to put them together on the page.
Okay.
Just do some thinking about that.
So
Well, and let's put it all, like, here's the next question. Do we put it all on the same page? Like, does anger belong with peace? Does it need its own page? I right now feel compelled to mix, like, to put it all together. And I think the thing I love about collage is I find it just this process of making myself whole, taking pieces of me, which are the images, and putting them all together.
yeah, it's very nice to sort of use them as symbolism for your.
Yeah. And to let the pages that you've used, let them speak to me. Like I I feel like there's a God or a spirit or source or creator element to it for me about what comes through and found objects being there when I need it. Um, I swear I have reparented myself with collage.
Uh,
I know that sounds like over the top, but
no, I believe that art and processes and all sorts can be so healing, so totally healing. Um,
healing.
I'm not
Yeah.
like the only way I use collage is I do paint over collage and I use it as layers. So I don't really use just collage on its own.
Yeah,
I
having a
combine.
new experience today. And I learned about layering from your courses, which I loved because I had never used collage that way. I'd always used it for whatever was on the. But the other thing that I think has really helped me is I mean, I do this myself a lot, but one of the reasons I'm excited to do it with you today is telling the story of what's come out on the page makes it so much more like medicine. It makes it healing to have it witnessed um, by somebody. Oh,
Yes, I see.
yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting close.
I need to open my new glue, but it's the lid is really stuck. My other one is really dried out. Let's see if I can.
Every time I talk to somebody about anger, I revisit my whole belief system.
Okay.
And I think as women, often we're sort of culturally conditioned not to be angry, that's not nice. And I've struggled with that my whole life. Like, what does it mean to be a nice person or a good person? It doesn't mean I can never have anger. I don't know. So much.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but then I also nowadays think that also men are not like no what it's it depends on which circles you're in, but it, again, for me, there's a key to the key difference is what kind of anger.
How do
Because
you express it? Like
yeah,
how
because
is it
like I said,
expressed?
there's many people that express anger and they do fear make me afraid. So I
Yes.
don't want to have that effect on people, or nor do I want them to that have the effect on me. But I liked your distinction so much with the clean anger, where you
Yeah.
say, I'm not okay with this, but not through an aggressive way, perhaps.
Yeah,
Sometimes that might happen and then you repair. Do you see what I mean? I don't know.
I do.
That's
I
in
do,
MVC. Have
too.
you done any MVC at
I have
all?
not.
Like,
No, nonviolent
okay, yeah,
communication.
nonviolent communication. There we talk about just unmet needs, really. So that it provides a framework where you can really talk about your unmet needs and without sort of judging, shaming the other. So you and it's a really it's I that would be I would find that a quote unquote clean method
Yes.
by which you can really come to the depth of your pain and your needs and have the other person hear it without sort of re-triggering the other as well or triggering the other in the process of it. It's quite a beautiful
Yes.
thing. I definitely deeply recommend it.
I got introduced to like doing anger work in therapy and with a bat, using a bat and a pillow and
Oh,
swinging the bat and
like
letting go.
screaming into
Yeah,
type
it
thing.
was it was so empowering and it was safe. Like, like it wasn't hurting anybody. It wasn't destroying any relationships, but I really got to experience my rage, really,
Yeah,
that had been unexpressed and I felt like because I had never expressed years of anger about abuse and trauma and betrayal, and that there was part of me that came to life after I did that. Like I felt an aliveness I hadn't felt before.
wow,
And then I went to this women's weekend and they did that kind of work. And there were 60 women there. And it
yeah,
was so powerful to watch women
do that.
do
Whoa.
that work and then validate them and hear them. And everybody felt safe,
Hmm.
not without risk, but not unsafe in someone's anger, because it was clear it wasn't about anybody there. It was
Yeah,
directed at this pillow and whatever that represented. And I just think, oh, I wish my kids one day get to experience that in a way to release that for themselves.
yeah.
The world hurts us.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah. Here, you know what you have here in the UK? I don't know if it exists around the world.
Smash rooms.
Yeah. Have you had
Yeah.
that? I've heard of those. I've not been to one, but
Um,
you just go and you're allowed to just smash whatever, and it's really
oh,
good for kids, or you can
amazing.
do it here for kids. And I think you even have like what is it, chainsaws and stuff in there. I was a bit like, whoa, but that
Yeah.
sounded like really therapeutic in a way.
You know what I've often thought about those? Like, I've often thought it'd be great if a therapist was there facilitating the
Yeah,
person's anger, like
yeah,
really letting them get into it and name what it is and really release it.
yeah.
Ah. Um, so how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm getting there. Shall I hold it up to you so you can see what I've done? So this
Yeah.
so far is my these are my angry, not that they don't look angry, but it's it represented anger to me because Tilda Swinton is this stern. She's a bit of stern face. The bag is red, and that was just a really big part of a black sort of it's part of this here page. There's a big black tree and it was dark, so that's why I associated it with
Oh,
anger. And I started adding a little bit of other collage to it, just more as a decorative thing. How about you?
yeah.
I'm gonna show it to the camera.
Okay. I have got
Yeah, the eye. Okay, yeah,
so these are my anger. This one I found says strong women fight. And I just thought I didn't overthink it. I just felt the anger in that.
yeah,
And his hand behind the glass, like
yes.
yesterday
Like
when I experienced some anger at my son, I felt like that, like I was screaming behind some glass that I couldn't that's how I felt that I was doing that, even though I wasn't. I can't quite get my communication going when I'm
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then my other image, I got all my images on here now. So my peace images, this phrase, grace in their heart, stood out to me. My bed, this is a picture of a bed. There's something about, I guess, probably the vulnerability of sleep is the opposite of anger to me. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Beautiful. Yeah.
a cup
Calm.
of tea. I think that symbolizes to me just sitting with someone and sharing and
Yeah.
candlelight, it's soft, and then some hearts. So I feel like I've got it all on here, like all the elements of
You
both.
do. Yeah.
I think I'm going to put some color on it. Are you going to put your other images on? Do you want
Sure.
to do that? And I will put some, I feel the need to put some color around it. I
Nice.
know that I, like you, have an affinity for this color magenta, this woody stabilo. Doesn't say what color it is, but oh, I love it. There's
Yeah.
something too about activating the color that, do you find that like a
Yes. It's
high,
really,
a natural high?
yeah, totally. Adding the water to the
Yes.
color pencils. Totally. Yeah.
Oh, it's like I can feel myself getting excited because I can't wait to do that part. Okay.
Okay. So I'll get share screen again and then I'll keep working as well.
I am getting ready to activate. You know what I love that we're doing it imperfectly, like we don't have the setup 100%, and that's okay, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like we're here together trying. How many times has that really proven to me in my life that just showing up and trying is is worthy of my.
That is so important, isn't it? I really want to do that.
Yes.
Just to show up is, don't they say 80% is better, 80 or 70% of showing up is better than no percent of not doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I found
And
this
it,
really amazing. Look, this is really cool. I love swallows. Swallows are very prominent currently in my work, and this I found in the magazine. Pieces of pieces of swallows being cut out of um was it book pages. That is perfect for me.
see what I mean? This
Yeah,
is when the magic starts happening with collage. You
yeah,
start finding things
yeah.
in books. I swear, I did a women's weekend once, and the whole weekend was collage. And the things the women found in the magazines was uncanny.
Yeah.
And
There's a-
that's where I think the collective unconscious starts coming into art and the magic part. Because I mean, one woman who was going through a divorce, this was many years ago, found pictures in a random magazine I had brought that her ex had taken as a photographer.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
Like that happens over and over with collage where the magical things appear, like your love for swallows, and there they are for
Yeah.
you.
But not just there, they are just swallows. They are cut out of book pages. Like they
That's
are
even
actually like
better. Yeah,
that's how I would, that's art. That's how I do it in art. Like I love book pages like to use as collage, so that's kind of
me
crazy.
too. That is perfect. Okay, I'm taking out my, this is what I do sometimes at the end is I take some kind of quote and try to find one that speaks to me, and often it'll happen randomly. Let's see.
From your what? Where are you taking it out of?
Well, this time I'm taking it from an old one-a-day calendar that had quotes.
Oh yeah.
I usually have a stack of quotes laying around from that. Oh my gosh, here it is. Oh, I found it. It's like the second one I looked at. It's perfect.
Okay.
Do you want me to read it to you?
Yes, yes, please. I was like waiting. What is it? What is it?
Okay, it says, strain, head pounding, soul weary. She's trying to think of a happy ending, but pen to paper won't fix this. Emotions spewed out won't make this better. Words have been beaten to death. Solutions have hung themselves. Oh, oh, oh.
Whoa, that's a really heavy but kind of appropriate one.
Right?
Yeah.
Love it. It's dark.
It's saying the words don't work, but the collage does.
Yes, it does. Sometimes I think that's what's beautiful about forcing myself to do images and not add words, because then I disengage my overthinking mind and I
Yeah,
need to,
that's good. True,
I
true,
think
true.
myself
But to get
the
symbolic.
corner.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. Oh my gosh, I'm proud that I'm putting this on there because it's dark. I mean, sometimes I want everything to be nicey, but it's not.
Yes. Good to acknowledge. Good to acknowledge the where it's not nicey.
Yeah. If I ever have a bad day or like I'm really tired and really not okay, if I sit down with a magazine, a glue stick, and my journal, it fixes me right up. Like I feel better right now than I did at even an hour ago.
Do you do dream boards that way as well? A lot of people use
Mhm.
dream boards and
I
with
do vision
collage.
boards. Yeah, I do one every New
Yeah.
Year's Day. I
Okay.
invite my lovely special people over and we come in my studio and we all make one. And I kind of got tired of it this past year. I'd done it so much. So I um did a different one. Actually, I did a process that Amber had done during her um solstice event, Woman Unleashed,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, I did her process this year. It was called a yearbook, but it was similar. It just had a little more structure. Um, yeah, I think I just like to see myself on a page. It's less lonely than just
Yeah,
living it inside.
yeah, I can see how it's a very powerful way of mirroring back what's basically validating and going on what's inside of you, and that the collage images really represent for you. It's like what they do with kids in play therapy, isn't it? You know,
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
basically just let them express what's there, and that is a way to process. So then
it is.
you're in touch with what you're trying to feel through the
Mhm.
images. Yeah.
And I'm just going to add one. I have these Tim Holtz ideology stickers. They look
Okay.
like this. Can you
Yeah.
see?
Oh, yeah. I think I have some of them too.
I
Nice
like
words. Nice words. Yeah.
I like to find one that I found it. It's
Okay.
it says I'm gonna put it over top of this woman with the crazy eye. It says, "Relax, we're all crazy. It's not a competition." That's awesome.
That's really good.
Isn't
Again,
it?
so appropriate again.
Well, yeah, that's what happens is things just appear that are perfect.
Mm.
I feel the need to draw around this poem. I gotta use my Poscas, the wonderful Posca. Do-do-do. Here we go. What's it like for you using this collage in this way right now? How do you like it?
One, I noticed that I want to add paint and everything to it, so I will.
You can.
I
Yeah.
like it as a here, look what I found on my wanderings. Check that out.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was just part of it. On my wanderings. I thought that was interesting. Like on the journey, we're finding this.
Yeah.
I like that. I like again like layer collage as part of layering. So I like to embed it as part of a layer, and then it's also meaningful to me. So I find images that'll be meaningful to me. I just want to add more to it. So I just notice always fun. Okay, now I'm gonna add a layer of paint and then a layer of stencils, and that's just
Mhm.
how I like to do it. But I like more meaningfully finding images that are connected. So what we've done today is intentionally looking for images that remind us of anger or something. So
Yeah.
I haven't done that before because that means that the images are more maybe a focal point. Now I do something called paint over collage, where I use start with the face and then I paint over it. So that is
Yeah.
where this would fit because I'm thinking of painting over the face eventually and just keeping some of the images a bit more focal pointy. But I
Yeah.
enjoy so I enjoy the idea of finding images deliberately that are connected to a particular issue I might be working on. So let's say anger or whatever else it could be. So that is a different process for me. I've not really done that before. And I think that's really helpful and meaningful, if you see what I'm saying. Because then you and
Yeah.
so I like finding the opposite images and then surrounding the anger parts with it, almost as to say, well, once you've processed it, the calm comes, or it could be a way to say these calming images might help soothe the anger. Like there's so many
Mm.
ways that you can interpret your images that I also really like that aspect of it as well. I love that there's so many options with symbolism and metaphor and yeah, symbolic image.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
love the way you explained that because, and it makes me think of how many people really want some healing and know they need it, but they can't get to therapy or they can't afford therapy or they don't live somewhere where it's readily available. And this is a way to heal at home. This is a
exactly.
way that you can go
Exactly.
on a journey with yourself and it becomes medicine. The way you said you can put the images around it in a way that almost are like a medicine to
Yeah,
it. And I
for
love that. That's what I love about art. I mean, it's magical to me.
completely. And as you create your journal page, and if you keep going, more and more messages can occur. So I've
Mhm.
started adding white paint now to certain areas, and I
Mm.
find that in any of the art processes that suddenly you'll find yourself going, oh, I'm really struggling with this, whatever it is. And then you go, oh, that actually is similar to a struggle I have in real life. And so you start to kind of
Oh,
go deeper and uncover things and
yeah.
figure out um, ways how the art and the life are connected to each other. You recognize stuff, and you basically just being present and witness to your own stuff, which is what is so
Yeah.
important. Right? And it's back to the very first thing you said. It helps you feel your feelings, be present to them, witness them. And then what we haven't really discussed yet, but something I love to do a lot is and bring empathy and compassion to your own issues.
Oh,
And like
okay.
really,
Let's do that. I'm going to do that. I learned this little formula for compassion. And
yeah,
when I feel like I don't know how to give myself compassion, I go back to it. And it is, you say, no wonder I feel blank, and then give three becauses. So I'm going to do that.
right.
No wonder I felt angry because I have teenagers and I find that in their separation, they don't want me the same way anymore. And because I feel rejected and I feel like I miss them. And I've no wonder I feel angry because I don't know what to do sometimes. And I get afraid for them. So I want to force some solution that feels good for me. And no wonder I feel angry because I never have enough time to do it the way I wish I could do it. I'm
Yeah.
always against the clock. Yeah. Boy, that suddenly felt like grief. And
Uh, and that's where they go. Anger is connected sometimes to other emotions, isn't it?
yeah,
Grief. But can I just say thank you so much for sharing? That was really tender and vulnerable. And it touched my heart because I also have two teenagers.
it's a
It's a
journey.
really, it's a really harsh thing, isn't it? When they suddenly go, "Haha, yeah, you're a bit silly. I don't want need you anymore," sort of thing. It's a whoa, because
Yeah,
when they're younger, they're just like you're their world, and now it's like, you actually can you not hug me? I'm like, oh my God,
I know. It's a loss.
it is a lot.
It's a loss.
Heartbreaking. It's really hard. It's a whole new journey.
It is. And because I don't because of my own past and abuse, and I'm sure a lot of people watching have had similar experiences in their lives, I don't have a relationship with my mom. And so sometimes I feel quite lost about how to parent. Like I don't know who to turn to. I wish I had that older woman that, and I mean, I've created it, but it sometimes just feels like it's not the same as having a mom or an auntie. And yeah, so left to my own devices, I don't always handle everything well.
Yeah, and that's okay, right? We all have our struggles and flaws and whatever, and that's all understandable.
Mhm.
And I think we need to be gentle about that with ourselves, not beat ourselves up too much.
What do you have compassion for?
Um, I'm trying to think of a time when I'm angry. I'm not.
Yes.
Um, I get really, and I want to say, I never say I'm angry. I always say I get really frustrated. So that's that sort of calm down version of angry. I
Yeah.
do get very frustrated with or angry with systems in the world that are meant to serve me, meaning, let's say in England, the NHS or a
Yeah.
particular the government,
Yeah.
uh, because legally they should, but they don't. And so the compassion I have for myself is that I feel incredibly helpless when that happens. And I hate feeling helpless. Helplessness is my absolute nemesis feeling, and I will do anything in my power not to feel it. So anger is more powerful than helplessness.
Right.
So I go to if something makes me feel helpless. So if I'm, let's say my oldest child has special needs, he's meant to be basically given support by the government, but because they're overworked, under-resourced, and are in debt, they've basically really not given us any money. And so this has been incredibly painful for me, but there's nothing I can do. I feel like
Oh,
I'm just helpless. Now, he's fine, so he's okay, but I feel really bitter about it and resentful.
oh,
And so, and that's what I mean. I go to bitterness, resentfulness, and anger if I'm unwilling to feel the helplessness, which I rarely don't. I just don't want to feel helpless because then I think, shit, it's unresolvable. And I'm
yeah.
like, no, I don't accept that it's unresolvable. I'll be angry about it. I will make it, brother. So it fuels an activist side in me and it
Yeah.
makes me feel powerful. But the compassion I have for that around me, and luckily so I don't, in this case, it's not to do with my kids or anything, because it would be a different sort of felt sense, is that I know that I find feeling helpless is one of my worst feelings. So the compassion I have is that I understand that I'm trying to not feel that feeling, and that's where the anger and stuff is coming from. So I understand that very strongly. I know about that. And what I wanted to say as well is that your, well, how did you say it? Can you repeat the sentence that you said about
No wonder I feel
no wonder
because
yeah, because and Sarah, my Sarah therapist slash person that I work with, family constellation, she says similar sentence, which I thought was so interesting. She says, "Of course you feel like that. Of course that makes sense." She uses a similar language, which is so validating and so helpful. And I think that's
yes.
really helpful to speak to ourselves in that way and not to then dwell in it and only get stuck there, but to validate that something's up for you rather than deny and ignore and repress it
Yeah.
is much more healthy. So then it can flow through and just feel it. When you're feeling it and naming it, it then tends to move on. But if you repress it and not look at it, it actually stays with you. I think that's such an
Yeah.
interesting paradox, isn't it?
It is like sometimes
So show
when
you
you
mine.
hear that my neighbor is doing something with a saw, oh
Do
my gosh, I love it.
you like
Okay,
it?
tell me all about it.
Oh, sorry, about you were saying something, saying something though.
Oh, my neighbor's sawing something. Can you hear it?
Yeah. So, oh, soaring something. No, I can't hear it actually.
Oh,
No.
good.
It's
Zoom's
fine.
good for that. I
Well,
want you to tell me the story of the rest of your picture.
all right. Well, I actually think it's really effective in the sense that you see how the black background there is so dark, like dark. That's the anger, and she's stern looking. Because it's funny that I related to her because she's not angry, but to me, she's a bit scary looking. Like a stern.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that is when I think, oh, someone's angry. And so that's interesting to me. And then here I really made that the swallows really prominent. You see those?
Yes, I
And they are
love.
my freedom, my light. I love light and the lightness of these animals. They flit around in our near our barn. And what else? And then I just basically added some colorful, I like color
Yeah.
surrounding it. A lot of the other bits are calm. So the black and the red and the girl, the woman, are the angry part or the upset part. And then the rest is kind of lightening it up. And then I use some paint to sort of meld it together a little bit. But it's not finished. I might do more to it.
Yeah, I
And
love it
I did
though.
add the On My Wanderings in there as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of cute. Like On My Wanderings, sometimes I'm angry, sometimes I'm not.
Yeah. And it comes and it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I wrote down while you were talking. This is something I kind of like to do. Sometimes I do it at work when I'm in meetings. I'll write down pieces of sentences and then I string them all together in a row. I get
Oh,
great satisfaction out of that. But anyway, I wrote down some pieces that you said and I want to
hmm.
read them back to you.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. Nothing I can do. The compassion that I have for me. I'm helpless, bitter and resentful. It then tends to move. Of course, I feel like that.
That is like a poem. I want to write that down too.
Yes.
You made a poem out of my words.
Yes.
Very beautiful.
Aw.
That
Okay.
is so beautiful. That is like so poetic. You made what is that? A Zen? What is the Zen poem called? It's not quite it, but what you know what I mean?
No, I'm no good at the words that describe I'm only good
Zen
at stringing
poem.
them together.
It's a haiku. That's it. It's called a
Oh,
haiku. You
yeah.
know what haiku is?
Okay.
It's not a haiku, but it's reminds me of that because your haiku is very specific, right? It's very the rhythm is very the cadence and the rhythm is very specific.
Mm,
But it reminds me a little bit of that. Wow, thank you. That's very
you're
touching.
welcome. You're
But also,
welcome.
it was like, oh, you reminded me of my was it my helplessness. That genuinely that is the one feeling that I try to always run away from. I
Yeah.
just don't accept it. I just don't accept that something is unresolvable. And
Well, I think you also brought up something for me that is the gold of anger. The
mm,
golden side of anger for me is it moves me into action. It moves
yes,
me into finding justice. It motivates me. It gets the energy going. Like there is such a gift in anger.
mm,
And
that
that's what you described, like this sort of need to find solutions and move forward and fight the fight. And sometimes that is, I mean, that's what, think of some of the women that have changed women's experiences for forevermore because they were willing to step into that fight, you
for
know?
sure. Yeah, it's very motivating and fiery energy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very, very motivating, and that's sometimes so needed for sure.
I'm struck by when I tried to validate my own anger and have compassion, I ended up almost crying. So
Mm.
all my talk, all this talk I do about how comfortable I am with anger, I really am not.
But,
I'm
but
not.
but it's quite touching and moving. Were you crying because of the anger or because of your empathy element of it? What was
I
the
think it was when I said I miss my son, the grief under it. And I wonder if there's a way for me to say that to him without making it super awkward and teenage sons don't want to hear. By the way, I realize how much I miss you but I do miss him but I want him to be able to grow up. So yeah, anyway, it's all those things.
it's a tricky one.
It is. Yeah. I don't want him to ever have to caretake my feelings
Of
and
course,
like not separate and push against me because I'm grieving him. Like that's when the apology makes it worse.
I get that. It's
Yeah.
I find that a really tricky thing with kids where you go, um, the balance of well, also it's similar to letting them experience pain and protecting them. So there's that balance between well, they need to learn how to overcome pain and uh,
Go through
experience
it.
how to deal with that, but you also need to protect them because certain pain is too much, right? You can't. That's you wouldn't, particularly if they're very young, you wouldn't let them be near. I don't know, jump off a cliff or something. That's
Right.
pain. That's not pain that you can learn from.
Yeah.
But that's an extreme example. But where does that barrier lie?
Oh,
And same with um, letting them know. the impact that maybe that they have on you, but not wanting to chain them to you and not wanting to say, and
Right.
therefore you must look after me, you must come and see me, or something, or you must let me hug you, like I might want to say. Say,
Well,
for instance, Elliot, like my youngest will say, I don't want to. I said, come and lie in bed with me, and he was like, no, I'm a grown up person. What do you mean? He's only 13. I was like, oh, okay, sure. No, okay. So I'm respecting his boundary. And
yeah.
that's like, like hug, let's hug and lie on the couch or whatever. And he's
Yeah.
like, no, I don't want that. And I'm like, okay, it hurts my heart.
I know.
Okay, he's
I
doing
know.
it all the time. But of course, I'm gonna respect his boundary. But I can say, oh, I'm a bit sad about that. But of course, that's okay. Don't. I'm not gonna do anything you don't want. And
Yeah.
I miss that a little bit, but that's all right. I will deal with that. I will own that, and I will sit with my feelings. But
Mhm.
something like that, I don't know. I'm just like winging it myself. But it's a tricky one because you don't want to make them feel guilty,
I
or
know.
for them to go, you must hug your mother when she wants to. That sort of thing. It's a really tricky one, I find.
It is.
It's difficult.
Parenting is a tricky one.
My God, parenting is like no one flipping prepared me for it.
I don't think, I think if they did it, the world would not be populated.
No,
I
I
think
know.
we
Everyone be
have
like,
to
no,
go into
thank
it
you.
thinking
Yeah.
it's all going to work out and it'll be easy because we've watched other people with their kids and we know we'd never do those things. And then you become a parent, you're like, wow, didn't know I had that level of rage in me.
Didn't know I could feel so little.
I'm so lost.
Yeah. So little and so long.
So, shall we
Yeah.
bring it to a close with another reading? How about
Yeah,
that?
that'd be nice. That'd be lovely.
I'm gonna find one that's about compassion. Well,
Hope it's still recording.
I found something. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I want to live my life, my very own life. I want to claim it and I want to live out every particle of it. I hate the possibility of living out a canned version of everybody else's life. Sometimes I have to be frighteningly rebellious because it scares me so to think that I won't find out who I am or how to live my life. I worry if a teacher shows my child this one and only correct method to do something and insists that all the children do it that way instead of letting each child discover her own method. The most dreadful idea in the world for me is that there is a preordained ideal way to live, and we almost must live that way. I would rather die than live by a preconceived pattern. It would be death in my life.
Wow.
Ah, permission. Let's be
Permission. And
ourselves.
again, so applicable to what we've been
Do you have
talking about.
anything coming up that you want to share with people?
You
Next,
mean emotionally or an event?
oh, I mean, sorry, I moved gears
Like,
really fast there. I meant events in your willowing world.
that's what you mean? Yeah, yeah. Oh, I did. Yes, I was on. Did you mean in response to the reading or in my? Yeah, yeah. Well, I do actually. I have an event coming up called Master Mixed Media. And it's so yeah, this is really cool. We have about 35 artists, and basically it's mixed media focused.
Wow.
And the teachers are, or the artists have been asked to share their favorites with you. So be it favorite supplies, favorite methods, favorite techniques, favorite
Mm,
process, or topics or subjects. And so yeah, that's going to be really exciting. And
that
it'll
is
start on the 1st of May until the 14th of May. And it's free. It's free to for the 2 weeks. And if you wanted to buy a VIP package, you can, then you have lifelong access to it. So thank you for
beautiful.
asking. What about you? Where can people find you and
Well,
work with you if they want
actually,
to?
I have an event coming up in the month of May. I'm doing live YouTubes every Saturday afternoon at 3 Mountain Time. And it's called Journal with Jenny. And
Nice.
I'm just going to do my journal methods because a lot of adults I find say, I don't know how to journal, or they want to, but they don't. Um, so I'm just going to share some of my favorite ways to journal and not just writing, but using collage and art. And I'm going to do that through the month of May, and it's free, and join me live, and then it'll be, recorded in thereafter if you can't make it.
Wonderful. Well, so we're both going to be putting the links below in the YouTube description. So I'll link you to Jen and to whatever other events and things we've
Um,
discussed.
as will I. And I
Yeah,
have loved today. I feel I'm checking out, feeling very seen, and I want to say normal, even though I hate using that word, but I guess just a woman among women, like, like I'm not alone.
yeah.
I'm thanking you for that.
Same. Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed just looking at anger means to us or how we see it. And I'm still, such an interesting emotion. And thank you to the person who asked it before as well, because it kind of spurred us on. And I must say, I'm loving my collage more and more more I look at it.
Right? That's what
I might,
happens.
I might just leave it as is or add a little bit to it. I'm really enjoying it in a way. So yeah. So I might
Me
add
too. I've got
but
my pink on there, and I feel like I've encased this with
yeah,
the
yeah.
color of love for me. And yeah, I think the more you talk about it and the more you look at it, the more medicinal it
Uncover and
becomes.
yeah, yeah. So thank you for introducing me to kind of making collages a main focus, although I'll probably put a bit more on, but I really enjoyed experimenting this way as well, and that's the bit and the intentional choosing of images that remind you of the emotion. I think that's really helpful. Yeah. So
We will
thank
be back, right? We'll
yeah,
be
we
back
will be
next
back.
month.
Maybe
Okay.
next month we'll do another one. And
Sounds
yeah,
good.
thank you everyone for watching. If you have any questions or you want us to maybe discuss a particular topic, please leave comments below. And
Yes.
yeah,
We love all the comments.
yeah, sure. I'll see you again.
Bye.